Pursuant to the 20th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, for the meeting of the 118th Congress of the United States, the House will come to order. The prayer will be offered by Chaplain Kibben.
Would you pray with me? Eternal God, you spoke and the earth brought forth life. With a word, your Spirit breathed into humanity the essence and purpose of our very being. Speak to us now, O Lord, and breathe into the body of the 118th Congress your word of truth and justice, compassion and wisdom. Give each member the guidance to be faithful stewards of this divine tasking and to wield this privilege carefully. Even as you grant us the favor to serve you in this place, remind us that amidst all the debate, you will always have the final word. And your word is alive and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword. Divide then our souls and spirits. Discern our thoughts and the intentions of our hearts, and may they be acceptable to you. Lay on the shoulders of these men and women the mantle of both responsibility and accountability. Nothing is hidden from your sight, and each will always answer to you. Call these who represent the hopes and dreams of the Americans who have voted them into office to heed first your voice. And then, as they uphold and defend the Constitution and its moral principles, grant them strength and reason, purpose and insight. So bring this 118th Congress to life and breathe on us the creative work of your Holy Spirit. Give us eyes to see your guiding hand, ears to hear your wise truth, and hearts to hold firmly to the faith we profess in you. We pray this in your most sovereign name. Amen.
Will representatives-elect and their guests remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As directed by law, the Clerk of the House has prepared the official roll of the representatives-elect. Certificates of election covering 435 seats and the 118th Congress have been received by the Clerk of the House. The names of those persons whose credentials show that they were regularly elected as representatives in accord with the laws of their respective states or of the United States will be called. The representatives-elect will record their presence by electronic device, and their names will be reported in alphabetical order by state, beginning with the state of Alabama, to determine whether a quorum is present. Representatives-elect will have a minimum of 15 minutes to record their presence by electronic vote. Representatives-elect who have not obtained their voting ID cards may do so now in the Speaker's lobby. Are there additional representatives-elect in the chamber who wish to record their vote? If not, all time has expired. 434 representatives-elect have recorded their presence. A quorum is present. Credentials, regular and form, have been received showing the election of the Honorable Jennifer Gonzalez Colon as Resident Commissioner from the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico for a term of 4 years beginning January 3rd, 2021. The Honorable Eleanor Holmes Norton as Delegate from the District of Columbia. The Honorable James C. Milan as Delegate from Guam. The Honorable Stacey E. Plaskett as Delegate from the Virgin Islands. The Honorable Amu Amada Coleman Radawagan as Delegate from American Samoa. And the Honorable Gregoria Kalia Camacho Sablan as Delegate from the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. The clerk will state that since the last regular election of representatives to the 118th Congress, a vacancy now exists in the 4th District of the Commonwealth of Virginia, occasioned by the death of the late Honorable A. Donald McEachin. Pursuant to law and precedent, the next order of business is the election of the Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 118th Congress. Nominations are now in order. The clerk recognizes the gentlewoman from New York, Ms. Stefanik.
Madam Clerk, on behalf of the House Republican Conference, I rise today to nominate the gentleman from California, Kevin McCarthy, as Speaker of the House to lead America's new Republican majority. In just 2 years of failed one-party Democrat rule, the American people have suffered from a historic border crisis, rampant crime, crippling inflation, rising energy costs, runaway debt, unconstitutional attacks on our fundamental freedoms, and weakness at home and abroad. The people across this great nation spoke loudly and clearly that they wanted a new direction. They wanted a new direction to stop this radical far-left agenda, to hold Joe Biden accountable, and to save the United States of America. Under Kevin McCarthy's leadership, House Republicans drafted a bold vision to put our nation back on track. Our commitment to America is a promise to the American people that this new Republican majority will stand up for an economy that's strong, a nation that's safe, a future that's built upon freedom, and a government that's accountable to the people. Kevin McCarthy is the proud son of a firefighter and a fourth-generation Californian from Kern County. Home to wildcatters, frontiersmen, and the right stuff, Bakersfield embodies the American spirit to work hard and dream big. This spirit that built our great nation is what we need in our next speaker. Kevin McCarthy is a strong conservative. He is proudly pro-life, a supporter of our Second Amendment rights, and he is committed to stopping wasteful government spending and shrinking the size of government. When Republicans last held the majority, Kevin helped to reduce domestic spending and lower the tax burden on hardworking American families. And as our Republican leader over the past several years, Kevin has taken the fight to one-party Democrat rule on behalf of the American people. He helped bring this historic border crisis to the national consciousness, a crisis Kevin made sure Democrats could no longer ignore. He fought for and succeeded in repealing the ill-advised military COVID vaccine mandate, and he stood on this very floor and spoke for a record 8 hours and 35 minutes to not only delay the vote in the House, but to make the case that ultimately defeated Joe Biden and House Democrats' dangerous Build Back Broke legislation. No one in this body has worked harder for this Republican majority than Kevin McCarthy. Since the day Kevin was elected as our leader, House Republicans have only gained seats and won. While Republicans in the Senate and state legislatures lost seats, House Republicans are the only ones who have consistently won, because Kevin knows what we stand for, he knows when we should engage in the fight, and he knows how to build consensus. Importantly, Kevin has done the work of listening to all Americans, traveling to nearly every district in this country, fighting for conservative values and fighting for the people that are committed to upholding them. Kevin has shown up in these communities of every member in our conference, and I can guarantee he has shown up in the districts of many of our colleagues across the aisle as well. His relentless effort has yielded an extraordinary new House Republican majority that represents our country's greatness from all walks of life. When the last Congress gavelled in 2 years ago, every new Republican welcomed to our conference was a woman, veteran, or minority. Today's House Republican Conference is the most diverse Republican conference in our nation's history. A seasoned legislator, an experienced leader, a friend to so many of us, a proud conservative with a tireless work ethic, Kevin McCarthy has earned the speakership of the People's House. Madam Clerk, as the chair of the Republican Conference, it is my high honor to present our conference's nominee for election to the office of Speaker of the People's House, the Honorable Kevin McCarthy from the state of California, and I yield back.
The clerk now recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Aguilar.
Madam Clerk, I rise today at the direction of the House Democratic Caucus to place into nomination for election to the position of Speaker of the House of Representatives the pride of Brooklyn, Hakeem Jeffries of New York. Today, Madam Clerk, House Democrats are united. United by a Speaker who will put people over politics. Hakeem Jeffries has worked his entire life to improve economic opportunity for all people. He is committed to strengthening the American dream by lowering costs for working families, building safer communities, by taking weapons of war off streets, and by creating good-paying jobs in industries of the future. As we work to implement our historic legislative accomplishments of the last 2 years, House Democrats are united behind a Speaker who wants to make things in America and bring home jobs that have been shipped overseas, to write a tax code that rewards hard work, not wealth, to invest in clean energy that reduces our country's dependence on fossil fuels, from voting rights to reproductive rights. We are united, Madam Clerk. We are unified behind a speaker who is an unapologetic advocate for protecting and expanding our freedoms. He does not traffic in extremism. He does not grovel to or make excuses for a twice-impeached so-called former president. Madam Clerk, he does not bend a knee to anyone who would seek to undermine our democracy. Because, Madam Clerk, that's not what leaders do. Because he understands what great leaders of this House understand, that this body and this institution are best equipped to serve the needs of this democracy and the beautiful mosaic of the members it sends. That our responsibility as members of this body is to protect the American dream and honor the sacrifice of the generations before us. Like the sacrifice of a mother and a social worker who borrowed against her pension to put her children through school. Mom and Dad were determined that their children would graduate without any debt so that they could pursue their dreams to the best of their ability, no matter the hardship or the sacrifice. Today, Hakeem's leadership style is quite simple. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. And it's born of this working class upbringing in that same borough. Hakeem and his brother were raised in the first home that their parents ever bought, thanks to their collectively bargained salary, and it's where they live today. It was in this house where his younger brother saw a future leader, where his mother saw a thoughtful, passionate young man, and where his father saw a competitor, whose GPA went up when his younger brother started high school. His family always at his side, some here with us today and some watching from home. His mom and dad, Kenny, JJ, Joshua, and his younger brother, Dr. Hassan Jeffries. Mrs. Jeffries and her husband told their sons, "It doesn't matter what you do, but it has to be done in the service of people." And that's how Hakeem will lead. He's going to serve all of us so that we can best serve the American public. That selflessness, that commitment to success of those around you is what shaped his career and what will shape our joint future together. He knows success isn't about personal achievement. He's a leader who will be with you in the beginning, whether it's your bill and an important priority in your district. He'll ride alongside you as you do the work, and he'll be there at the end to see you through. Because he knows that our success means that we can raise the quality of life for our constituents, creating better jobs and building safer communities. He has guided every step of the way by his faith and his mom instilled in him. Sunday mornings weren't always easy in the Jeffries house. The young man who knew he wanted to be a lawyer would argue with his mom about going to church that day. But failure is a good teacher. He lost those arguments, and now Hakeem goes to church every weekend, sometimes that one where his church family is at Cornerstone Baptist, or somewhere else in the district where he can meet his constituents where they are. He remembers that after church on Sundays he'd go to Nano's house, where there was an open door at his grandmother's house for the entire neighborhood and their elders to come through with food and conversation. A young Hakeem listening to everything, but usually just trying to catch the score of the Jets game. This is where wisdom gets passed down. And now, guided by the faith and wisdom of leaders like Jim Clyburn, Greg Meeks, John Lewis, Steny Hoyer, and Nancy D'Alessandro Pelosi. It is shaped by that guidance that we are prepared to nominate a leader who will open the door to the new generation of leadership. Madam Clerk, a Latino is nominating for leader of this chamber a black man for the first time in our history. Madam Clerk, that's progress, and it's progress that the country wants to continue, for this Congress and for our country. Therefore, as chair of the Democratic Caucus, I am directed by the vote of that caucus to present for election to the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives for the 118th Congress the name of the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, Representative-elect from the state of New York.
The names of the Honorable Kevin McCarthy, a representative-elect from the state of California, and the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, a representative-elect from the state of New York, have been placed in nomination. Are there further nominations?
Madam Clerk, there is.
The gentleman from Arizona is recognized.
America knows that Washington is broken. The power doesn't reside in the Speaker. It doesn't in the majority leader, nor the minority leader, nor the whips. The power resides in we, the people. The people entrusted us here, each individual member, to represent their district, their state, and the federal government. Washington's broken. We're the last ones to know. A wise person once told me, good process builds good policy, builds good politics. We got to return to that. It is with that that I place the name of my friend and colleague from Arizona, Andy Biggs, for Speaker of the House. Thank you.
Are there further nominations? There being no further nominations, the clerk appoints the following tellers. The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Loudermilk. The gentlewoman from California, Ms. Lee. The gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Steele. And the gentleman from New York, Mr. Morelli. The tellers will come forward and take their seats at the desk in front of the Speaker's rostrum.
Let them get set up first.
The names of the Honorable Kevin McCarthy, a representative-elect from the state of California, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries, a representative-elect from the state of New York, and the Honorable Andy Biggs, a representative-elect from the state of Arizona, have been placed in nomination. The roll now will be called, and those responding to those names will indicate by surname the nominee of their choosing. The reading clerk will now call the roll. Adams. Adams. Jeffries. Adderholt. McCarthy. Aguilar. Jeffries. Alford.
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Allen.
McCarthy.
McCarthy. Allred. Jeffries. Amaday.
Bakersfield High, home of the Drillers, McCarthy.
McCarthy. Armstrong. McCarthy. Arrington. McCarthy. Auchincloss. Jeffries. Babin. McCarthy. Bacon. McCarthy. Baird. McCarthy. Balderson. McCarthy. Ballant. Jeffries. Banks. McCarthy. Barr. McCarthy. Berrigan. Jeffries. Bean of Florida.
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Beatty.
I proudly cast my historic vote for Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Bentz. McCarthy. Barra. Jeffries. Bergman. McCarthy. Beyer. Jeffries. Bice. McCarthy. Biggs. Biggs. Bilirakis. McCarthy. Bishop of Georgia.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Bishop of North Carolina. Biggs. Blumenauer. Jeffries. Blunt Rochester. Jeffries. Boebert.
I rise to cast my vote for the Honorable Jordan.
Jordan. Bonamici. Jeffries. Bost. McCarthy. Bowman. Jeffries. Boyle of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Brackeen. Banks. Brown. Jeffries. Brownlee. Jeffries. Buchanan.
Straighten the back there.
McCarthy. Buck. McCarthy. Bouchon. McCarthy. Bazinski. Jeffries. Burchett. McCarthy. Burgess. McCarthy. Burleson. McCarthy. Bush. Jeffries. Calvert. McCarthy. Kamek. Kamek. McCarthy. Caraveo. Jeffries. Carbajal. Jeffries. Cardenas.
The first Speaker of color of the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Carey. McCarthy. Carl.
Next Speaker of the House, 118th Congress, Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Carson.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Carter of Georgia.
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Carter of Louisiana.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Carter of Texas. McCarthy. Cartwright.
Jeffries.
Jeffries. Kassar. Jeffries. Case. Jeffries. Caston. Jeffries. Castor of Florida. Jeffries. Castro of Texas. Castro of Texas. Jeffries. Chavez de Reamer. McCarthy. Sherfilis McCormick. Jeffries. Chu. Jeffries. Cicilline.
Very proudly, Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Siscobani. McCarthy. Clark of Massachusetts. Jeffries. Clark of New York.
The bad, brilliant brother from Brooklyn.
Jeffries. Cleaver. Jeffries. Klein. McCarthy. Cloud.
Jim Jordan.
Jordan. Clyburn. Jeffries. Clyde. Biggs. Cohen.
I have 8 times cast my vote for the greatest speaker of the generation and maybe the greatest speaker this House has ever known, Nancy Pelosi. I proudly cast my vote for the next great speaker of the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Cole. McCarthy. Collins. McCarthy. Comer. McCarthy. Connolly. Jeffries. Correa. Jeffries. Costa. Jeffries. Courtney. Jeffries. Craig. Jeffries. Crane. Biggs. Crawford. McCarthy. Crenshaw. McCarthy. Crockett. Jeffries. Crow. Jeffries. Cuellar. Jeffries. Curtis. McCarthy. Davids of Kansas. Jeffries. Davidson. McCarthy. Davis of Illinois. Jeffries. Davis of North Carolina. Jeffries. Dean of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. DeGette. Jeffries. Dela Cruz.
From the great state of Texas, Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. DeLauro. Jeffries. Del Bene. Jeffries. DeLuzio. Jeffries. DeSaulnier. Jeffries. Desjardins. McCarthy. D'Esposito.
From Strong Island, New York, Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Diaz-Balart. McCarthy. Dingle. Jeffries. Doggett. Jeffries. Donalds. McCarthy. Duarte. McCarthy. Duncan. McCarthy. Dunn of Florida. McCarthy. Edwards. McCarthy. Elsie. McCarthy. Emmer. McCarthy. Escobar. Jeffries. Eshue. Jeffries. Espaillat.
Don't know, now you know.
Jeffries. Estes. McCarthy. Evans. Jeffries. Ezell. McCarthy. Fallon.
Fourth District of Texas votes for Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Finstra. McCarthy. Ferguson. McCarthy. Finstad. McCarthy. Fishbach. McCarthy. Fitzgerald. McCarthy. Fitzpatrick. McCarthy. Fleischman.
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Fletcher. Jeffries. Flood. McCarthy. Foster. Jeffries. Fushi. Jeffries. Fox. McCarthy. Lois Frankel. Jeffries. C. Scott Franklin. McCarthy. Frost. Jeffries. Fry. McCarthy. Fulcher. McCarthy. Gates. Biggs. Gallagher. McCarthy. Gallego. Jeffries. Garamendi. Jeffries. Garbarino. McCarthy. Mike Garcia. McCarthy. Robert Garcia. Jeffries. Garcia of Illinois. Jeffries. Garcia of Texas. Jeffries. Jimenez. McCarthy. Golden of Maine. Jeffries. Goldman of New York. Jeffries. Gomez. Jeffries. Tony Gonzalez. McCarthy. Vicente Gonzalez. Jeffries. Good of Virginia. Biggs. Gooden of Texas. McCarthy. Gosar. Biggs. Gottheimer. Jeffries. Granger. McCarthy. Graves of Louisiana. McCarthy. Graves of Missouri. McCarthy. Green of Tennessee. McCarthy. Green of Texas.
And still I rise, and I proudly cast my vote on behalf of the enslaved people who built this capital. I cast my vote for the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Green of Georgia. McCarthy. Griffith. McCarthy. Grijalva. Jeffries. Grothman. McCarthy. Guest. McCarthy. Guthrie. McCarthy. Hageman. McCarthy. Harder of California. Jeffries. Harris. Zeldin. Harshbarger. McCarthy. Hayes. Jeffries. Hearn. McCarthy. Higgins of Louisiana. McCarthy. Higgins of New York. Jeffries. Hill. McCarthy. Himes. Jeffries. Henson. McCarthy. Horsford.
Proudly cast my vote for the passionate member, Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Houchin. McCarthy. Houlihan. Jeffries. Hoyer. Jeffries. Hoyle of Oregon. Jeffries. Hudson. McCarthy. Huffman. Jeffries. Huizinga. McCarthy. Hunt. McCarthy. Issa. McCarthy. Ivy. Jeffries. Jackson of Illinois. Jeffries. Jackson of North Carolina. Jeffries. Jackson of Texas. McCarthy. Jackson Lee. Jeffries. Jacobs. Jeffries. James. McCarthy. Jayapal. Jeffries. 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 Johnson of Georgia. Jeffries. Johnson of Louisiana. McCarthy. Johnson of Ohio. McCarthy. Johnson of South Dakota. McCarthy. Jordan. McCarthy. Joyce of Ohio. McCarthy. Joyce of Pennsylvania. McCarthy. Camlogger Dove.
Representing California's 37th district, Hakeem Jeffries, all the way.
Jeffries. Captor.
Ohio 9 proudly casts our vote for the distinguished working class workers.
Jeffries. Kane of New Jersey. McCarthy. Keating. Jeffries. Kelly of Illinois. Jeffries. Kelly of Mississippi. McCarthy. Kelly of Pennsylvania.
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Kana.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Kiggins of Virginia. McCarthy. Kildee.
Man from Brooklyn, my classmate in 2012, my friend Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Killy, McCarthy, Kilmer, Jeffries, Kim of California, McCarthy, Kim of New Jersey, Jeffries, Krishnamurthy, Jeffries, Custer, Jeffries, Kustoff, McCarthy, LaHood, McCarthy, Loida, McCarthy, LaMalfa, McCarthy, Lamborn, McCarthy, Landsman,
I proudly cast my vote for, enthusiastically cast my vote for the PBL.
Jeffries, Langworthy, McCarthy, Larson of Washington, Jeffries, Larson of Connecticut, Jeffries, Latta, McCarthy, LaTurner, McCarthy, Lawler,
The Honorable Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy, Lee of California, Jeffries, Lee of Florida, McCarthy, Lee of Nevada, Jeffries, Lee of Pennsylvania, Jeffries, Ledger Fernandez, Jeffries, Lesko, McCarthy, Letlow, McCarthy, Levin, Jeffries, Liu, Jeffries, Lofgren, Jeffries, Loudermilk,
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy, Lucas, McCarthy, Lukemeyer, McCarthy, Luna, Jordan, Luttrell, McCarthy, Lynch, Jeffries, Mace, Kevin McCarthy, Magaziner, Jeffries, Maliotakis,
How many times it takes Kevin
McCarthy,
McCarthy?
Mann, McCarthy, Manning, Jeffries, Massey, McCarthy, Mast, McCarthy, Matsui, Jeffries, McBath,
Distinguished gentleman from New York and a man's plan.
Jeffries, McCarthy, McCarthy, McCall. McCarthy. McLean. McCarthy. McClintock. McCarthy. McCullum. Jeffries. McCormick. McCarthy. McGarvey. Jeffries. McGovern. Jeffries. McHenry. McCarthy. Meeks.
I proudly cast my vote for the pride of New York and soon to be the pride of the United States of America, Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Menendez. Jeffries. Ming.
With the grateful heart of King Jeffries for the people.
Jeffries. Muser.
Nobody but Kevin
McCarthy.
McCarthy.
Mfume.
Madam Clerk, on this historic day, I am proud to cast my vote for the distinguished gentleman from New York, the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Miller of Illinois. Jordan. Miller of Ohio. McCarthy. Miller of West Virginia. McCarthy. Miller Meeks. McCarthy. Mills. McCarthy. Molinaro.
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Molinar. McCarthy. Mooney. McCarthy. Moore of Alabama. McCarthy. Moore of Utah. McCarthy. Moore of Wisconsin.
Madam Clerk, I proudly cast my vote for the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Moran. McCarthy. Morelli. Jeffries. Moskowitz. Jeffries. Moulton. Jeffries. Mervan.
Representing Gary, Indiana, proudly Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Mullen. Jeffries. Murphy. McCarthy. Nadler. Jeffries. Napolitano. Jeffries. Neal. Jeffries. Nagoose. Jeffries. Nels. McCarthy. Newhouse. McCarthy. Nickel. Jeffries. Norcross. Jeffries. Norman. Biggs. None of Iowa. McCarthy. Obernolte. McCarthy. Ocasio-Cortez. Jeffries. Ogles.
American patriot, the gentleman from Ohio, Jim Jordan.
Jordan. Omar. Jeffries. Owens. McCarthy. Pallone. Jeffries. Palmer. McCarthy. Panetta. Jeffries. Pappas. Jeffries. Pasquale. Jeffries. Payne.
Wishing right now that the rules of the House allow the top voter to win. Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Pelosi. Peltola. Jeffries. Pence. McCarthy. Perez. Jeffries. Perry. Biggs. Peters. Jeffries. Pedersen. Jeffries. Pfluger. McCarthy. Phillips. Jeffries. Pingree. Jeffries. Pocan. Jeffries. Porter. Jeffries. Posey. McCarthy. Presley.
On behalf of the Masters and Seven,
Jeffries. Quigley. Jeffries. Ramirez.
From the Illinois 3rd Congressional District votes for the speaker that's going to defend immigrant rights, Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Raskin.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Reschenthaler. McCarthy. Rogers of Washington. McCarthy. Rogers of Alabama. McCarthy. Rogers of Kentucky. McCarthy. Rose.
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Rosendale.
Montana 2nd District votes for Andy Biggs.
Biggs. Ross. Jeffries. Rouser. McCarthy. Roy. Who did he say?
He said Donald.
Donalds.
Donald's or Donald's?
Got it.
He said Donald's. He thought he said Donaldson. That's why I was asking. Okay. Go ahead.
Donalds. Ruiz. Jeffries. Rupersberger. Jeffries. Rutherford. McCarthy. Ryan. Jeffries. Salazar. McCarthy. Salinas. Jeffries. Sanchez. Jeffries. Santos. McCarthy. Sarbanes. Jeffries. Scalise. McCarthy. Scanlon. Jeffries. Schakowsky. Jeffries. Schiff. Jeffries. Snyder. Jeffries. Skolton. Jeffries. Schreier. Jeffries. Swikert. McCarthy. Austin Scott. McCarthy. David Scott. Jeffries. Scott of Virginia. Jeffries. Self. Jordan. Sessions. McCarthy. Sewell.
I proudly cast my vote for the Prince of the People's Republic of Football, Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Sherman. Jeffries. Sherrill.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Simpson.
Son of a California firefighter, Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Slotkin. Jeffries. Smith of Missouri. McCarthy. Smith of Nebraska. McCarthy. Smith of New Jersey. McCarthy. Smith of Washington. Jeffries. Smucker. McCarthy. Sorensen. Jeffries. Soto. Jeffries. Spanberger. Jeffries. Sparts. McCarthy. Stansbury.
On behalf of the great state of New Mexico, I proudly cast my ballot for the brilliant, eloquent, and amazing next Speaker of the House, Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Stanton. Jeffries. Stauber. McCarthy. Steele. McCarthy. Stefanik. McCarthy. Style.
McCarthy.
McCarthy. Stubbe. McCarthy. Stevens. Jeffries. Stewart. McCarthy. Strickland.
Without hesitation, I proudly cast my vote for Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Strong. McCarthy. Swalwell. Jeffries. Sykes.
Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Takano.
Madam Clerk, I am with Team Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Tenney. McCarthy. Tanadar.
Proudly from Detroit, Michigan.
Jeffries. Thompson of California. Jeffries. Thompson of Mississippi. Jeffries. Thompson of Pennsylvania. McCarthy. Tiffany. McCarthy. Timmons. McCarthy. Titus. Jeffries. Talib. Jeffries. Takuda.
From the great state of Hawaii, we vote Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Tonko. Jeffries. Torres of California. Jeffries. Torres of New York. Jeffries. Trahan. Jeffries. Trone. Jeffries. Turner. McCarthy. Underwood. Jeffries. Valadeo. McCarthy. Van Drew.
Mr. Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Van Dyne. McCarthy. Van Orden. McCarthy. Vargas. Jeffries. Vasquez.
New Mexico for Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. VC. Jeffries. Velasquez. Jeffries. Wagner. McCarthy. Wahlberg. McCarthy. Waltz. McCarthy. Wasserman Schultz. Jeffries. Waters. Jeffries. Watson Coleman.
With my heart stayed on the preservation of democracy and the protection of integrity, I cast my vote for Hakeem Jeffries.
Jeffries. Weber of Texas. McCarthy. Webster of Florida. McCarthy. Winstrup. McCarthy. Westerman. McCarthy. Wexton. Jeffries. Wild. Jeffries. Williams of Georgia. Jeffries. Williams of New York. McCarthy. Williams of Texas. McCarthy. Wilson of Florida. Jeffries. Wilson of South Carolina. McCarthy. Whitman. McCarthy. Womack. McCarthy. Yackham.
McCarthy. Zinke.
Gavin Nolan McCarthy.
McCarthy.
Nobody didn't answer, right?
Right, everybody did.
So I think we'll just skip to the third here.